people here for public comment. It might be easier if people sign in. You don't have to, but it'll make it easier for us to go through. There's a sheet up here to sign in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners Gershenson, Gingell, Hoffman, Jackson, Kokendorfer is excused, Kowal,
Here.
Kuhn,
Here.
Long,
Here.
Lubes,
Here.
Markham,
Here.
McGilvray,
Here.
Middleton,
You're here.
Miller,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Powell,
Here.
Quarles, Spiz,
Present.
Taub,
Here.
Whitebert,
Here.
Woodward,
Here.
Zach.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The invocation today will be given by the Honorable Michael Gingell, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Oh, and rise after.
All right, good morning, everyone. I thought I was going to be able to recognize the Lake Orion Dragons girls volleyball team for their state championship today, but because Lake Orion once again doesn't have school, they won't be here, so I will hold that until the future meeting, and I will change my invocation accordingly. So if everybody would please bow with me. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day and for the way that you've blessed us, Lord, and for our country and all the things that we have that are amenities that others don't. Lord, we pray for this meeting today that you would give us wisdom and knowledge, and that you would give us a bipartisan spirit to address issues that are important to the people. Lord, I pray that you would keep your hand upon us, continue to bless us, and bless the county of Oakland. In Jesus' name, amen.
Of the United States item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the January 24th, 2019 meeting. We have a motion. Moved by Commissioner Miller. Seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll. A voice vote. Yeah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. We need a motion to approve the agenda. Commissioner McGilvery, seconded by Commissioner Gingell. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay, on the agenda, Commissioners Gingell? Hoffman? Jackson?
Yes.
Kowal?
Yes.
Kuhn?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Lubes?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
McGilvray?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Powell? Spiz?
Yes.
Chaub?
Yes.
Whitebird?
Yes.
Woodward?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Gershenson? Mr. Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The agenda is approved. Next, we have communications. Madam Clerk, do we have any communications?
We have a few this morning. The first dated January 24th, 2019. Dear Chairman Woodward, please be advised that I am reappointing Mr. Keith Lermanow and Mr. Gordon Snavely to the Claims Review Committee for the 2019-2020 term. Very truly yours, L. Brooks Patterson, County Executive. Oh, that's not my copy. Another one dated January 24th, 2019. Dear Mr. Woodward, please be advised that pursuant to miscellaneous resolution number 14231, I am appointing Ms. Joellen Shortley and myself as alternate to the Tax Increment Financing District Review Policy Ad Hoc Review Committee for the 2019-2020 term. Sincerely, Oakland County Corporation Counsel, Keith Lermanow. Okay. February 7th, to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Ladies and gentlemen, please accept this letter as notification that I have exercised the authority granted under the provision rules of the board, Section 1XH1. The chairperson of the board, for the purposes of meeting a submission deadline, shall be granted authority to approve grant applications in excess of $250,000. The grant application deadline for the U.S. EPA Fiscal Year 19 Brownfields Assessment Grant Program was January 31st, 2019. The Oakland County Economic Development and Community Affairs has prepared a grant application on behalf of the Oakland County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority in the amount of $300,000. Due to the changes in the board's grant submission process and the board calendar, it was not possible for the department to submit the application for full board consideration in accordance with our normal procedures. The application was reviewed by all appropriate county departments. I have authorized the submission of this grant application. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners. And I have one more that just disappeared. Hang on. Where did it just go? Just had another one. Where'd it go? Just gave it to me. Thank you. I just had it. I don't know where it went. Okay. February 7th, to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Ladies and gentlemen, please accept this letter as notification that I am appointing an ad hoc review committee of Oakland County's Department of Management, Budget, Purchasing Division, Policies, and Procedures. The committee will be organized as an ad hoc committee under the provisions of the board rules. The members of the committee will be Commissioner William Miller, Chair, Commissioner Kristen Nelson, Commissioner to be named by the Minority Caucus Chair. The charge of the ad hoc committee is to conduct a comprehensive review of Oakland County's Department of Management and Budget, Purchasing Division Policies and Procedures. The committee shall take an in-depth examination into the existing policies and procedures to determine, but not limited to, the following. Determine whether the purpose and goal of the policy is still being met. Determine if changes are required to improve the effectiveness or clarity of the policy and procedures, and to ensure that appropriate education, monitoring, and ongoing review of the policy is occurring. The committee will present a report with recommendations to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners. That's it for today.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Our communication received Without objection. All right, now we're going to, we have a public hearing for economic development and community affairs, so we're going to recess from our normal board meeting to take public comment on a resolution approving the provisions of a brownfield plan for the 1200 Auburn Road, City of Pontiac project. So if there's any member of the public that came to speak to that particular issue, this would be the time to come and address the board on this topic, on this specific topic. We'll have public comment for other items in just a moment. Anyone coming to speak to the economic development and community affairs issue? All right, seeing none, close public comment on that item, and we'll return to our normal Board of Commissioners agenda. We've got a number of proclamations and presentations. First, I would like to invite Commissioner Gwen Markham to come up and present a proclamation honoring the 50th anniversary for the City of Novi. Oh, great. Commissioner.
I'm new at this, so bear with me. My name's Gwen Markham. I'm Commissioner of District 9, and I am very proud today to read for you a proclamation celebrating the City of Novi's 50th anniversary. Whereas one of the many strengths of Oakland County is its unique and extraordinary communities such as the City of Novi, which are an integral component of what makes this a great place to live, work, play, and raise a family. And whereas the City of Novi is a diverse community with a population of just over 63,000 residents and 3,000 businesses, which employ more than 54,000 people. It's conveniently located in southwest Oakland County with easy access to the entire metropolitan area. And whereas Novi was first settled by Erastus P. Ingersoll, who paid $100 for 80 acres of land in 1825, before Michigan even became a state, in 1832, the state legislature officially separated Novi Township from Farmington Township, and the City of Novi was later incorporated in 1969. Whereas with beautiful homes, tree-lined streets, and friendly neighbors, Novi is an excellent place to live and raise a family. The city boasts over 11 parks and offers many popular community activities, including summer concerts, an ice arena, and 12 Oaks Mall. And whereas the city currently operates under a dedicated team, Mayor Bob Gatt, Mayor Pro Tem David Stout, City Manager Pete Auger, and City Council members Kelly Breen, Laura Casey, Andrew Much, Doreen Poupard, and Ramesh Verma. And whereas on this very special occasion, we proudly join with the leadership and residents of the City of Novi to celebrate its 50th anniversary. I'd like to invite up right now our Mayor, Robert Gatt, and the woman in our city who's done the work to pull the 50th anniversary celebration together, Abby Leffler, to receive this. Would you like to say a few words?
I would. First of all, good morning, everybody. You know, my saying in Novi is if you can't find it in Novi, you probably don't need it. So thank you very much for this special recognition of our 50th birthday. Let me give you something. This is our special 50th anniversary pin. Let me give that to you, and you can wear that proudly. We're very, very proud of Novi. We invite you all to come and visit Novi. They have a piece of cheesecake at the only cheesecake factory in Michigan, right there in Novi. Thank you, Glenn.
Congratulations. Happy birthday, Novi. Next up, we have a presentation from Oakland Community Health Network, Specialized Residential Services update. I would like to invite Matt Owens, Chief Network Officer, and Christine Burke, Communications Director, forward. If you want to come up and address the board. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for welcoming us. We're just here to provide a brief update on some of the changes that we have had. We've previously come to this group and talked about some of the changes that we're making at Oakland Community Health Network relative to contracts and specialized residential and community living support service contracts. So just providing a brief update we'll go through. For those who are unfamiliar, the basis of this is that we've been transitioning contracts back that were previously subcontracted out through our core provider network. Providers like Easter Seals, Mork, and CNS, who you may be familiar with, and bringing those back in and centralizing those under community mental health, under Oakland Community Health Network. We had previously had these centralized before. We are just taking that action and returning those back. Doing that for a few reasons. One of those reasons is primary to everything that we do. We look for opportunities whenever we're able to improve the lives of services and lives of people through the services and improve outcomes for people, and we believe that this is going to lead to that through some various steps that we're taking. The other parts to this is that it ties into some directives that we've received from our funder and contractor, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, where they've asked us to reduce administrative layers and create efficiencies. And with the way the system was set up, where we would then contract with core providers, who then would subcontract with core providers, and monies were channeled down through those core providers to then pay those subcontracted providers. It created layers of administration. So we're eliminating those, thereby creating efficiencies, creating cleaner, clearer, consistent processes. The other part of this is it ties into Medicaid managed care rules, which require us to look at ways to try to address some of these disparities, some of these efficiencies, and also to look at ways to work more progressively with things like value-based contracting and pay-for-performance contracting, which we're starting to do with these and other providers within our network. So a lot of reasons we're looking for it, but primary is that we're trying to really look for opportunities to improve services for people. Just a couple of pieces of data just to let people know what this looks like on a ground level. We ended up bringing back most recently, as of October 1st, 2018, a total of 106 contracts. 35 of those contracts were for specialized residential, and just when I reference that, what we're talking about is adult foster care homes that are licensed as specialized homes. These are homes that can be reimbursed by Medicaid. Also, providers of community living support services. These are services that help assist people to remain independent in the community with staff that are trained to support for the care of reminding, prompting, assisting, managing with folks with budgeting, grooming, hygiene, that sort of thing. We also have foster care families who will take folks in and work with them within their family home to provide some of those CLS type care and personal care type services to help them live in the community as well. I mentioned some of the reasons why we're doing some of this, with overall being the reason that we're trying to improve outcomes and lives for people served, and we do believe that we're seeing some of those benefits already. The other part of this is that it creates more consistency in the practices. Historically, the way that things were set up, where services were contracted out with multiple core providers and then subcontracted out, some of those direct service providers for specialized residential and CLS services I've mentioned might be contracted with multiple core providers and thereby have standards associated by contract with this core provider, by this core provider, and that core provider. This pools those providers under one resource, so there's one contract, one set of standards with that contract, one contact point for those contract standards to reach out to and to get guidance from. Also one set of auditing as well. So a lot of those efficiencies and consistencies get corrected for. We really have already found that us having that one central point has been helpful. We also have taken some steps to do something very progressive. This is something we're very excited about. It's called the Oakland Housing Network and the Housing Link, and this is something that we're working with in good partnership with Community Housing Network. It's a Zillow-type housing resource where it is a web-based resource. So if I'm getting services with my case manager or support coordinator, we can have good discussions about where I may want to live, and I can go on this website and look up whether it's a specialized adult foster care home or an independent living arrangement. I'll be able to look on there. There are photos of the place that I would be living. It talks about details of the home, area shopping, whether there's parks and movie theaters and things like that. I can look on a map and pick places out that I want to visit. It's a really cool, innovative, and progressive tool. Nothing like this in the public mental health system in the state of Michigan, quite possibly nothing like this in the nation that we're aware of at this point. But this is going to change a few things. One, it helps more at that front door where persons are empowered in making their choices and being able to say, hey, I'm leading and driving those decisions that I'm making. And that may be that I go to a specialized adult foster care home, but I also can go to an independent living arrangement with staff and support if that's what I need, and it's my choice to make. So a really good, empowering tool that helps create choices for folks. Very innovative. The other thing that we're looking to do is to look for opportunities to streamline some of our auditing and quality control processes by having those single set standard audits within us that are centralized so that we can clean that up, go out and create more consistency in those audits, and we think we're going to see better quality care and services and outcome as a result of some of those processes. Overall, a lot of the things that we've been doing with the service line in every step along the way, whether it's been the Oakland Housing Link, whether it's been bringing the contracts in, whether it's been looking at rates and everything in between, we've really taken a steady approach to ensure that as many stakeholders as possible have been brought into this process. So we've had meetings with families, we've had communications that have gone out, we've brought in persons served, we've also had meetings that involve work groups with the providers who provide these services so that they have good, fair opportunity to provide input, feedback, and to help with the direction of where we're going with these changes. We understand that change of any type can create some fear and potential considerations for loss. We don't want that. We want them to see that this is something we're collaborating together towards shared successes and that we can move together towards a better outcome for everybody, particularly to the people that we serve. So as we're moving forward, we have some next steps in mind. Some of those next steps tie to building out incentive models. We know that there's some key areas within our system that we have to address. People waiting for and residing in state facilities. We've created some incentive models that are going to help with that, where providers are going to be incented to assist in help getting some of the folks out of state facilities back into the community and living in more integrated settings. That's underway, and we're very excited about that, as are the providers. And always working to improve and create more opportunities for community choice and independence and integration through home and community-based services and through some of the ways that we're looking at licensed versus unlicensed settings and choices and options people have along those types of living arrangements. Again, noting all this is really done within that mind frame of if we can align that part from the ground up, from the person served, the service providers, the families, us, and talking with MDHHS to get these types of workflows and initiatives approved, it's really the best way to do it so that nobody's misinterpreting and everybody's aligned towards that same shared interest and goal. I'm happy to answer questions if that's an option, but overall, just know we're excited and things are going well. There's still some things we need to work on, and we're cleaning up, but feeling good about it. Getting a lot of good feedback from the providers and the families we serve as well.
Okay. Thank you both for being here, and there's no question that Oakland Community Health Network provides critical, valuable services to all of our community and is a resource that all commissioners can call on to help support their constituents. And thanks for your leadership and updating us on progress of improving efficiencies and sharing the news of some of the new initiatives and work underway. We very much appreciate it. We now move on to the part of our agenda for public comment. This is the time in the agenda where the public is invited to share comments. We ask that you come up to the microphone and state your name and address. and limit your comments to 3 minutes. And we have a little clock up here that will help you. We had a sign-in sheet, so I'm going to start here. But if you didn't sign in, we will definitely make ample time for everybody to come forward. So first on the list is Krista Nesbet. Nesbet? Hi, Krista. Welcome.
Thank
And
you.
you say your name and
Welcome.
address?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Krista Nesbit. I am an Oxford resident and business owner. I also represent Amoresco, which is an energy solutions company. And we have worked with many counties on their energy infrastructure, simply from asset management all the way up to combined heat and power plants, wastewater treatment plants, et cetera. So just wanted to introduce myself today and thank you for your service. And please look to me as a resource if you're planning on doing anything with your energy infrastructure anytime soon. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Next up, we have Craig Oliver.
Good morning. My Lake Orion kids are off school today, too. My name is Craig Oliver, 4000 Royal Road, lifetime Orion Township resident, downtown Gingellville. Beautiful downtown Gingellville. Also, lifetime, because of that, resident of Oakland County. I'm a small business owner in Oakland County, have been for 20 years last year. And going back 30 years ago, in the Lake Orion Airport days, I was a child running around there as a second generation airport kid. Dad, the family, the neighbors, everybody participated at the airport. It's a different culture than what you would see at, say, a car show or something like that. These are all family that are tied together. Excuse me, the company I work for now, Williams International, I'm not here representing them, but that's just my backstory, is aviation, aerospace. We build turbine engines for military, civilian markets. We just recently invested a ton of effort and funding into a Pontiac facility in Oakland County again. So I, as the second generation at Oakland County Airport, since Lake Orion is now gone, have brought in a third generation. My own children are now following in my father's footsteps, running small business, aircraft inspection, maintenance, and in October of this past year, there were some rule changes for the behaviors and ethics and the way we conduct ourselves as tenants, FBO operators, non-commercial operators at the airport. And I struggled a little bit with some of the verbiage in here, and most of that is because I'm not familiar with what the wording of the prior generation of rules were. So I'm not trying to jump to conclusions or read into something that's not there. But there are some topics, for example, snow removal. Can't do any snow removal at all, period. It's pretty clearly written that way. So am I not allowed to shovel my own doorstep in my hangar? Tire chains. Can I not have a chain on a small little tug I use to pull an airplane in and out of the hangar with? I understand that some of these topics are probably more geared and applicable to a bigger operator running a heavy truck or not a salt spreader on the airport, but that class of equipment and machinery. That's not something that all of us at the airport do. So I'm hoping that I can open up a little dialogue, maybe with the folks that are on the airport committee, and get a better understanding of what the goals of these rules are, if they are indeed new or different, so that I can make sure that my behaviors and my children's behaviors for the next generation aren't impeding the perception of the airport, the safety. I'm not familiar with any incidences of injuries that have occurred from similar guys like myself running their operations. So I'd just like to open that dialogue up if we could.
Thank you very much. Next we have Bill Sharp.
Good morning, Bill Sharp, 5426 Guyette, Clarksville. Lifelong Oakland County resident, small business owner. I own several businesses, engineering and healthcare related at this point. Longtime member, Automation Alley, Medical Main Street, been very proactive in that. Also, aircraft owner, pilot for 40 years. And Oakland County has been my base for aircraft since I've owned them. And with these new regulations that I just became aware of this weekend, a lot of concerns. I fly not a lot on business now. Allows me to be more competitive. Most of my clients are major hospitals in the Midwest and East Coast, so I rely heavily on my aircraft. And as Mr. Oliver said, it's a passion of mine to work on my own aircraft, and it just makes me safer and a better pilot. And plus, uptime on my airplanes, I don't have to wait for DFBOs to work open on during the week to work on my airplane. I can come in on the weekend and change an alternator or whatever needs to be done under coverage from a mechanic. So I'm in the process of looking at adding a second aircraft to our business, and I'm just concerned about these, what I feel on the surface are overly restrictive rules that are being put in place. And as Mr. Oliver, we'd like to start a dialogue on that because this is a very important part of my business, and it's my own passion as well. And to be competitive out there as I expand my businesses, and we can move our employees around and visit these facilities. It's a major part of that, and I just like to open this dialogue and simply just clarifications. I guess we just need to get that dialogue going. So I appreciate your time and anything you can do to help facilitate that.
Thank you. Next up, we have Doug Neff.
My name is Doug Neff, 2320 Indian Lake Road, Addison Township. A 30-year resident of Addison Township. I'm a hangar attendant at Oakland International Airport. I've recently retired after 35 years at Chrysler, worked at the Tech Center. I emailed Mr. Spiz last night with some of my concerns on the new rules and regulations, also the minimum standards that were also published, approved back in October. A couple things. One, never heard about this until after it was implemented. We got an email from the airport saying that these are new rules. They have our email address. They could have told us beforehand that they were considering these things, get our input. They put signs on the gates going into the airport for major events like temporary flight restrictions or the Operation Goodyear, so they could have told us about that. So we never heard about this until after it was implemented, not even that it was going for approval. Secondly, I did take the opportunity to forward these new rules to the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association and Experimental Aircraft Association, and they pointed out there are some FAA guidelines that these possibly conflict with. The new rules say you're only supposed to do minimum work on your airport and the hangar. FAA allows you to build complete airplanes and restore complete airplanes in hangars where they have provided funding for airports. I know there's a restriction on storing non-airplane equipment, cars, and so on. The FAA does allow you to do storage, and they encourage it if there are empty hangars, if you're not renting out all your hangars, which is the case at the airports right now. Not all their hangars are being rented out, so they do encourage that. And there was a question on the minimum standards. Are they too restrictive based on FAA guidelines of requiring permits or not allowing independent mechanics to work on airplanes? So we would like to have some dialogue, understand where these rules came from, and have some input on them. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Are there any other members from the public that would like to address the board this morning? Seeing none, I will close public comment and move on to reports of standing committees. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Moved by Commissioner Quarles, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. I believe that we want to amend. I got it. Got it. An amendment. We adopted a practice allowing commissioners to co-sponsor things that are on the agenda in an easy way to update those records. I believe we need a motion to add additional co-sponsors to miscellaneous resolution 19019, the board recognition of School Breakfast Week in Oakland County, March 4th through the 8th. And I have one signature on here. I think the others, we already have the other signatures on it, but with Commissioner Weipert. So we need a an amendment to do such that. So Commissioner Weipert moves that amendment, seconded by Commissioner Gingell. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Amendment's adopted. Madam, back to the motion to adopt the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion on that matter? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the consent agenda as amended, Commissioners Hoffman?
Yes.
Jackson? Yes. Kowal?
Yes.
Kuhn?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Lubes?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
McGilvray?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Quarles? Spiz?
Yes.
Taub?
Yes.
Weipert?
Yes.
Woodward?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Gershenson? Gingell? Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The motion passes. Moving on to the regular agenda. We're going to go on to our committee reports. And the only committee I think that has business under the regular agenda is the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee. And I invite the chair, Nancy Quarles, to present the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee has one item, the Board Commission's appointment to the Job Evaluation Review Panel. The committee have reviewed the appointments, reports with a recommendation for the board to approve the appointment to the Job Evaluation Review Panel. Mr. Chairman, I move the acceptance of the foregoing report.
Motion made to accept the report, seconded by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The report is accepted. And I think we have a motion to adopt the appointments, right?
Yes.
And Commissioner Quarles adopts the
I move to adopt the report.
And seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion?
Yeah, just a comment, Mr. Chair. Can you just read the individual names that we're appointing here this morning?
I think Commissioner Quarles, could you read the individual names?
Yes. Commissioner William Miller, Commissioner Janet Jackson, Commissioner Shelley Taub as alternate.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the appointments to the Job Evaluation Review Panel, Commissioners Jackson? Kowal?
Yes.
Kuhn?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Lubes?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
McGilvray?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Quarles?
Yes.
Spiz?
Yes.
Taub?
Yes.
Weipert? Woodward?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Gershenson? Gingell? Hoffman? Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number of members voting in the affirmative. The motion passes. Moving on to reports of special committees where there are none. Special order of business, there are none. Unfinished business, there are none. New and miscellaneous business. Commissioner Zach.
I have a miscellaneous resolution recognizing March 2019 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in Oakland County, and I move to suspend the rules for consideration.
Moved by Commissioner Zach, seconded by Commissioner Gingell to suspend the rules. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The rules are suspended.
Do we need a roll call vote on
The-
suspension?
Yeah. Roll call. I think you do.
You know, I mean, we're good. Wait, just make the motion.
You don't need one?
Okay. I move this resolution.
Moved by Commissioner Zach, seconded by Commissioner Gingell to adopt the commemorative resolution. Any discussion? I believe all members had an opportunity to co-sponsor. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On recognizing March 2019 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in Oakland County, Commissioners Kowal? Kuhn?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Lubes?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
McGilvray?
Yes.
Middleton? Miller?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Quarles? Spiz? Taub? Whitebird? Woodward?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Gershenson? Gingell? Hoffman? Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
With a sufficient number of members voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted.
I have another resolution. This is a miscellaneous resolution, policy prohibiting contractual services agreements with individuals of a familial relationship of an elected or appointed official. And I move that this go to the Legislative and Government Affairs Committee.
I think we're going to refer that to the Economic
Oh,
Growth and
Economic Growth,
Infrastructure
okay.
Committee. Referred without objection.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. It was just brought to my attention that perhaps we needed a roll call vote for the suspension of the rules. No. Okay, thank you. I would like to introduce miscellaneous resolution, which is a restoration of purchasing policies and procedural code of ethics. And I would refer to Legislative
refer
Affairs?
To the Economic Growth and Infrastructure Committee.
Economic Growth. Thank you.
Referred without objection. Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have before me a miscellaneous resolution for Tri-Party Road Improvement Program, fiscal year 2019, Charter Township of Oakland, roundabout construction on Adams Road at Gun Road, project number 53351, referred to Economic Growth and Infrastructure Committee.
Referred without objection. Any further new business to come before the board?
Nope.
Seeing none, move on to announcements. Any announcements? Do I need to write that? All right. The two resolutions introduced by Commissioner Zach and Commissioner Gershenson, we're going to refer to finance instead. So refer those two matters to finance, referred without objection. Leave the Eggy Committee alone. Any announcements? Commissioner McGilvey, announce walk for one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This coming Saturday at the Great Lakes Crossing, 8 o'clock in the morning, is the Oakland Livingston Human Services Agency Walk for Warmth. Anybody that would like to walk with the commissioner's team, come on out and join us. You go in through the Bass Pro Shop when you register. That's the only thing that'll be open that early in the morning. So come on out, and if you can't make it, I'll be more than happy to take a contribution. Just get in touch with me. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Commissioner McGilvery. Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to announce an event in Southfield next Friday, February the 15th, and the event is in relationship to a shared space and a community conversation to discuss the future use of the community health space in World Medical Relief's headquarters on Melrose Avenue. They're going to do a joint venture with Owen, formerly Owen Healthcare System. Now the name is Honor Community Health. There's going to be a community conversation to discuss the use of this space and medical concerns in that part of the county. It's on 21725 Melrose Avenue in Southfield, which is 1 block from 8 Mile and Lassa Road. February 15th from 10 until noon. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Any other announcements? Seeing none, we'll adjourn to March 14th, 2019 at 7 p.m. or at call of the chair.